to Strumming with Christopher. I'm Christopher Gallegos with Monterey County Free Libraries, Gonzales Branch. So, it's obvious by now I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about jazz. More than I did about the blues. And why is that? Well, jazz is really helpful when you're learning guitar. Even if you're not a fan, even if you don't like the music, you can learn a lot from jazz guitar and its approach. Like I said in an earlier video, jazz is one of the few genres in popular music, at least in North America, where guitar is not always the lead instrument. We're used to seeing rock bands and folk artists and all that, and jazz has a lot of different instruments in there. So there's something you can actually do when you're taking a little bit more of an approach like a piano or a saxophone. Not quite, but close. There are these little melodic clusters of goodness called triads. So tri means three, and really it's just a chord made of three notes. I imagine on a piano it would be kind of like what you play with your right hand, and your left hand would be doing bass or something else, and you'd be playing these small little chords. But really, for our purposes, if you ever watch a jazz guitarist at work, you see their hands flying up and down the fretboard, especially when they're playing solos. And a lot of times it's not always scales that they're playing. Sometimes they're playing triads. So I'm going to give you two major triad shapes. So just think about the bar chords we've learned thus far. That kind of thing, or power chords. So those are all up here on these bass strings. Triads, a lot of times, are down here on these higher pitch strings. So I want to show you two shapes and kind of talk a little about what you can do with them. So shape one, let's go down to fret 5 like we usually do here. And it's a pretty simple shape. So you would start with your index finger on the high E string. Take your pinky over to fret 7 on the B string. Ring finger right above that, fret 7 on the G string. Right? And that is your triad shape. And it's a really easy little shape to just move up and down. So you can strum it. You can pick it. Think your pick is cutting through butter. You can upstroke. You can even finger pick it. I think triads are approachable because they're only three notes. Okay, so you have your first shape there. I don't really know what you'd call that shape, but I'm going to show you that shape. Just think of it as your index finger on the high E. And then there's another shape that's very complementary, same idea. And you go up one set of strings. So that shape would utilize the B string, G, and the D in this case. You would not use the high E. Okay, so let's go down to fret 5 again. Index finger on the 5th fret, B string. Middle finger fret 6, G string. Ring finger fret 7 on the D. And you're not playing the high E, so if you can remember, kind of have your index finger muting there, that high E. Okay, and what you're going to get is this really cool little movable chord shape, triad shape, that works really well with the first one I showed you. Same thing, you can pick, strum, finger pick. So what's really fun is not only just moving the shapes around individually, but kind of doing that thing we do with bar chords where you have the two shapes and you can kind of complement with the two shapes. So like, same thing here. So you kind of see in the intro, I try to make up something that'll demonstrate the concept we're discussing. I don't tell you that, but hopefully you've noticed it. So at the beginning of this, I was doing something kind of like... that sounds pretty impressive, and really you're just moving around the same shape, and you're also giving your right hand an opportunity to develop. Since the shape your left hand's making is so easy, your right hand doesn't have to keep up with all these notes. It's only 3 notes. So play around with those 2 triad shapes. You see them pop up a lot in other types of music, but in jazz, they're really helpful when you're starting to think in terms of, okay, if I ever wanted to improvise, do I have to learn a million scales, or can I just learn some concepts? Well, you can learn some simple concepts. There's not a single scale there, and it sounds like a solo. And really what you're doing is you're just giving your right hand a workout there with this little simple shape that moves around but sounds pleasant. Okay, so those are major triad shapes. Very easy little thing to pick up that will serve you well when you're starting to think in terms of melody, solos, and also if you're ever in a big jazz group or you have somebody playing a lot of low bass notes, you can add some complements and some color using these little triad shapes. They're very inoffensive chords. That's the best way to put it. Okay, so give those 2 shapes a try and start thinking with your jazz hat on. Always great to talk to you all. See you again soon.